So today's topic we're going to discuss is twin flames. I post a lot about twin flames, and a lot of people don't know what those are. I'm playing with my cards, so make me mention that. Um, but twin flames, in I guess the easiest way to describe them are the same soul, just in two different bodies, right? So I'll call them divine masculine and divine feminine. And I'm not going to classify, masculine or man or woman because they're energies, right? So you can be a divine masculine in a woman's body, or you can be a divine feminine in a man's body, which is, like I said, it's a energy. I happen to be a divine, but whether you agree or not, this is me. From the inside to the outside. So when I say I'm fine, my inside, the outside, I don't really care about. I'm grateful for. Don't get me wrong, but when I say I'm attractive, I say my spirit, because we are not our bodies, we are our spirits, and I like my spirit. I like my spirit. I love mine, honestly, I do. So because I love my internal, it's reflected in my external. 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 I'm making up new words. I do this shit every day. See, and I curse, which is also why there's a parental advisory. And this channel is not for children. So, control your child. Because if they hear anything that I say, that's your fault. Because, my oldest, she's over 18. My two little ones, they upstairs, they ain't around. So, I can curse all I want to. And can I say there's nothing you can do about it? Because, you can shut my YouTube channel down, but I'm still going to curse because I want to. I always veer off topic. I veered off topic, didn't I? A little bit. Okay, anyways, back to twin flames. Like I said, their energies are not physical. They're not the body, right? So can we just get to the questions? Because I'm just gonna sit here and rant. I will.
Okay, well, you answered the first question. You always do this. You're ahead of the game before the game starts.
What can I tell you? Spirit be on it.
Okay. So the first question will be, how do you heal a twin flame connection?
You heal a twin flame connection by healing yourself, right? First, let me go into what it actually is, right? So it's the same soul, just two separate bodies, right? So it is the mirror you, your mirror self. So same interests, same virtues, same likes, to an extent, dislikes. It's your mirror self. So it's you in the opposite sex. That's what a twin flame is, right? And it is God's, it's spiritual marriage, right? Because right now in the 3D, we tend to go based off of just our emotions. Oh, that person they make me feel this type of way. Or we go off of the ego. Oh, that person has money, or that person is cute, or what I can gain from that person. But a lot of people don't understand that a spiritual marriage is a twin flame, right? That's when you can go into biblical, because a lot of people don't understand that Jesus of the Bible and Mary Magdalene of the Bible, they were in fact twin flames, right? But we know the church, they won't always give you the truth because control, right? So can you imagine when a bunch of people find out that Jesus actually was married? He was in a spiritual marriage, especially with Mary Magdalene, which they like to throw in there that she was a quote unquote whore. Why was she considered a whore? Because she left her husband, right, and she had children, and she went towards her twin flame, which is a spiritual, i.e., arranged marriage. That's what that is. It's an arranged marriage. That's what a twin flame is. It's a spiritually arranged marriage. And in order to get closer to your twin flame, You know, what God has set up for you, you have to heal yourself because you are mirrors of each other. So whatever internal wound that you have to heal those because you won't get close to another you unless you do. So if you want someone who's motivated, guess what you have to be?
Motivated.
If you want someone who's honest, guess what you have to be?
Honest.
And if you want somebody who's dedicated, confident, compassionate, all of that, guess what you have to be?
All of the above.
Because if you're not, you will reject them without you even realizing that's what you're doing. Right? So in order to get close to whom God entrusted for you, your spiritual spouse. It has nothing to do with lust. Ooh, I want to get in their pants. It has nothing to do with money. Ooh, he's got a whole bunch of all of this, so that's what I'm going for. No, the person that is compatible to you with balancing. It's a balancing of the two, right? So where the divine feminine is weak, the divine masculine is strong. Where the divine masculine is weak, the divine feminine is strong. So you can have someone who's like the divine feminine could be terrible when it comes to handling money, but the divine masculine is a G when it comes to handling money, you know. Then you have the divine masculine who is weak when it comes to emotions, but yet the divine feminine has no problem, you know, standing strong and vice versa, because you know everybody has a weak point or gets tired, or where you get tired, your counterpart picks up that slack, right? So that is the twin flame. Is that what you asked me?
It wasn't the question that I asked.
Okay, what was the question that you asked?
But it was one of the questions I was
Okay, now go back to the question that you asked.
Well, you already answered it. I asked.
Well, I just asked you if I answered the question that you asked me. You said I didn't.
There's a lot going on.
I mean, it is, because I feel like I'm all over
the first question was, what is a twin flame? You answered that. The second question is, how do you heal a twin flame connection? You answered that. So yes, you answered both questions.
So yes, in healing a twin flame connection, you have to go within to heal yourself, right? So all of your hurts and pains and what other people did to you, or you have to heal that emotional part. You know, the part that when people tend to get in relationships and have their feelings hurt, they close off from that. Okay, well, such and such did this, so now I'm not going to do that again. No, the goal is to be you at all times, right? That's where your strength comes in, is to not allow someone to change who you are internally because of something that they did. You have to look at it as hurting people hurt people.
It was their weakness.
It was their weakness that allowed them to hurt you. It was nothing. It had nothing to do with you, right? They hurt you because they're hurting themselves, and that's what they project out to you. Now, I've done it too. It took me many moons to get over me feeling like someone did it because of me, but it had nothing to do with me. They did it because it was in them to do it, you know. And so, especially when they start pointing the finger in the blame game and, oh, well, I did it because of you. No, you did it because of you. Your actions are on you. Your actions had nothing to do with, well, if you, the biggest one that and a lot of people on Facebook can see me go at, especially when I see the post of, it's been 2 weeks and I ain't getting no sex. So, right? How about instead of blaming me for, not me personally, but like the post or the meme in itself, instead of blaming me as to why you're not getting it, why don't you look within yourself and try to figure out why you have no self-discipline or no control? You know, why are you having an issue controlling your nether regions? It has nothing to do with me, you know, or whomever, you know, is directed at. So, because, you know, people go through things, whether mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, whatever, and not everybody's going to be in the mood for it. So, and if you can't, as a person, if you can't recognize that or respect that, what does that say about you? Not the person that's not giving it up, especially women, because women, our minds or our bodies tend to follow how we feel. So if we ain't giving it up, it's something, we feel some kind of way, which is why we're not doing it. Men, a lot of times your body follows your mind. right? Because you're more ego based and women are more emotional based. So when your mind isn't right because maybe your funds aren't right, your finances aren't right, you're trying to figure out where you're going to get the money to pay this bill for the household, you don't be in the mood for it, right? So again, it's either mental or an emotional reason as to why somebody's not doing anything. So again, you have to check yourself. That's another thing in the whole hurting or being healed. A lot of people think that sex is going to heal something, and it's not, because sex is physical. You have to go inside to wonder or to understand why you're even leading with that. And that goes back to, you're not going to attract your twin flame in, who is your mirror self. Everything you've ever wanted in a person, yourself, unless you feel like yourself. You know, I probably answered the other questions just in saying that. I tend to do that a lot.
Okay. What was I about to say? Why does a twin flame pull on your energy?
Because you are the same soul, right? So it is your soul yearning for your other half, right? But in order to get your other half, you have to be whole within yourself. So we can go back to Noah's 2x2, right? Because a lot of people think it was it isn't in a sense, but he didn't really take one of each animal and put them on a boat and go. No, the 2x2 is your divine feminine energy and your divine masculine energy within yourself, because we all have a feminine and a masculine energy within ourselves, right? And when I say feminine and masculine energy, we all have an ego and we all have a heart. We all have a mind, we all have a heart, right? So that is what you have to have balanced between your mental and your spiritual self to create a whole individual, right? So when a man and a woman takes their ego and their spiritual self and make them whole, then they will start to attract each other. Like attracts like.
That makes sense.
So you have your two into one now. You created one person. And then now you have your physical man or woman together. You have two whole beings which have two whole spiritual aspects within them together. You're 2x2. Right? Your DNA, your genetic makeup of how you are literally built. That's how you get to each other. You have to balance your ego and your heart. Remember, I always say that's how you make your decisions. Mm-hmm. If your feelings match with your mental, that's where you step forward. That's how you make that decision. But if you feel like, oh my God, I'm so in love with the person, but your mental is like, yeah, but something ain't right because of what I'm seeing or what I'm hearing or what they're doing, what they're showing me, then that's off balance. If you just go based off of your emotions, then in the end, you'll feel, you made the wrong choice. Mm-hmm. But if you just go based off of your mental, what I can gain from it, or what they have or what they don't have, or, and your feelings aren't into it. You have a lot of women out here, their emotions aren't into it, but they see he has money, then they're making the wrong decision and then wonder why they feel left like depleted or something. Mm-hmm. Your mental and your emotional have to balance in order to step forward on the correct path. The path is narrow, and that's why. Mm-hmm. It's probably why the Bible says it's easier for a camel to walk through the eye of a needle. Why? Because a camel is still in tune with nature. They follow their animalistic instincts, right? They're spiritual, and they follow their mental, where their mind takes them. It's always in tune. So they can walk the path that they're supposed to go. Mm-hmm. As opposed to, oh, well, I feel this way, but my mind is telling me this, or my mind is telling me this, but I feel this way. You can't, to get a piece of thread through the needle, you got to focus and go straight through. Mm-hmm. But if you doing this, if the scales are unbalanced, you're going to lean too much this way, or you're going to lean too much that way, and you'll never make it through.
Mm-hmm. So my next question is a twin flame union destined in the lifetime you know of the connection?
First and foremost, first and foremost is divine timing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so whatever God is, whenever God, or it happens when it's supposed to happen, for one. But if you never heal yourself, you will never come into balance with your counterpart. Right? You have to be worthy of that person, just like that person has to be worthy of you. Y'all have to be on the same frequency, right? And I always use the whole minion thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have the one person who is working really hard on healing themselves, but then you have the other person who doesn't even recognize that what they're doing is working against their own internal guidance, then that one person who's working on themselves is here, and the other person still wants to play with the minions that's in the 3D world. They're not spiritually awakened to those aspects, whether or not because they're afraid that other people will look down on them, or because a lot of people are walking around here with masks.
Mm-hmm.
They're covering up their true selves because they're worried about what other people will say or what other people will think, or they've been walking around with a mask so long that the people around them don't even recognize or wouldn't even know the real them anyway. So that's a burden for a lot of people to show who they are, right? So it took me a while to want to do YouTube channels. Why? Not because I'm afraid of what people would think of me. I don't give a damn what people would think of me. It was more so of, are they worthy to see me? Right? Are they worthy for, do I feel like they're worthy enough for me to reveal who I am? It's like, because the darkness will always be attracted to the light. And it's more so, do I want to be bothered by the darkness? Because it took me so long to get out of it. Why would I willingly go back in? Mm-hmm. Right? But then that's Daniel in the lion's den. Right? That's Jesus didn't go to the saints. He went to the sinners. Right? Why? Because the saints they don't need the help. Right? They don't need the teaching. They don't need to learn that. That's what makes them a saint. They've learned it. Mm-hmm. So he went to the sinners, those who needed the help, that needed the guidance, that needed the direction.
Okay. How do you focus completely on yourself if your twin flame is consistently pulling on your energy?
It's extremely difficult, but you have to love yourself more than you love the other. Right? What is this? The saying is, when you love someone so much that it's okay, it's for you to let them go. Mm-hmm. Right? Because you love yourself more than suffering to try to bring them with you. That makes sense? Mm-hmm. So it's like, I know who my twin flame is, right? But the twin flame partnership or union is unconditional love, regardless of what they say, what they do. Not saying that they're abusive, because if they're abusive, putting their hands on you, that is not a twin flame union, by no means. Right? But it's more so, again, an understanding of their hurting, right? Because they're you. So at one point, you were doing the same stuff because
in a different way.
Because you were hurting, right? But the love you have for them and the love you have for yourself is so great that it allows you to walk away, right? Because they're still learning. Not that what they're doing to you is to intentionally hurt you. It's because they're hurting. And because they're hurting you. So the love you have for yourself is not going to allow you to stand there for that. But the love you have for them, well, you have that understanding of they're doing it because they're hurting and they still have to heal within themselves. Mm-hmm. And to keep me from hurting, I have to walk away. Right? So then that makes me stronger within myself. And the way the twin flame union is set up, it's like an invisible string. It doesn't matter where you go, the distance, locate none of that. You will forever be connected to that. You will forever be spiritually connected to that individual, whether this lifetime, 20 lifetimes from now, 60 lifetimes in the past. You will forever have that connection with them. It doesn't go anywhere. It's the same soul. You will never find another person that has your same interest, that has your same business mind, that has your same motivation, your integrity, your sense of dress, music, all of that. You will never find another one on that level. Period. That's why, spiritually you have nuns and priests, because they understand that their twin flame isn't in this lifetime, right? So they marry themselves to God. Right. That's why you see that's why a lot of nuns wear a ring, because why? They're married. Now, don't get me wrong now. The Matrix version of what these churches got going on ain't it. Right. That's a whole different level. But then we can get into the whole history of the high priests and priestesses, and they were killed for the knowledge and all this. Yeah, but that's a whole different topic. Right. But that's what it is. So, unfortunately, being on this walk, it's a gift and a curse, right? Because the feminine aspect will awaken to it first, right? So I awakened to it 4 or 5 years ago, of the whole twin flame journey. I didn't even know what a twin flame was until, what was it, a dream. And once I had the dream, it was kind of like, okay, well, why? Why did I have that dream? Because, a dream, if you remembered it, is a message. Right? So I went down that rabbit hole, and it led me to twin flames. And the more I researched it, and the more I watched it occur, it started to make sense a little bit. But then, once you are awaken to who your twin flame is, that sends you down a whole other path of healing yourself, right? So because I was awakened to it and I know who mine was, I had to go inside myself to realize why I felt certain ways or why I did certain things. But only that person would be able to get you down that road. Why? Because you're you, right? And that love you have for them, or that connection you have for them, is so strong. And when I tell you, there is nothing you can do to get rid of it. I prayed about it. I cried about it. I've tried to ignore it many a times, but the more you do that, the stronger it gets. Right? So that's how you know. One thing about a twin flame connection is it's not like anything else, right? So speaking to other people regarding it, they're going to look at you like you're crazy because they don't understand it. Why? Because they're not on that journey. They're not on that path. So, of course, to them, it'll look foreign because they don't understand that level of a connection to someone, right? So it will look foreign to them. Why? Because a twin flame connection is unconditional love. Period. And a lot of people don't even know what unconditional love is, so they will never understand it unless they understand unconditional love. That's exactly what it is. Right?
That's deep.
But that's what it is. It is the epitome of unconditional love. Like the love you have for a child is unconditional love. No matter what they do, where they go, how they go about it, you got mothers and fathers with children of theirs in jail for murder, for all types of... Did the love they have for their child go away? Why? It's a part of them. It's a piece of them. Get it? Twin flame. It's a piece of you. It is you. Your child. It is you. So regardless of where they go, what they do, you will always have that love for them. I've known mine since I was 16, 17 years old. Where has he gone?
Nowhere.
Where is the love that I've had? Where has that gone? It's still there like it was when I was 16, 17 years old. I'm 40. I ain't speak to him in 13 years, but it picks right back up. where it left off at. You may get older, move on, have children, but the love you have for your twin will it don't go anywhere. It's a different level from anyone or anybody else other than your twin flame is a lesson to teach you something. Now there are higher level lessons, to learn, right? But they will never be your twin. I know that. I've tried not to necessarily be in a relationship with other people, but to see if, I guess, there is another connection or another level of a connection similar to it. So I allow myself to talk to other people just to see, but as soon as, like, the first 5 minutes, right or wrong, like the first 5 minutes, I get, yeah, this is not that. It's not.
Next.
And it's not, it's not that I'm comparing him to others. I'm comparing others to myself. Right? Are they like me? Do we have the same morals, integrity, like all of that? And the answer is no. I've only come across one person who has the same dry ass sense of humor that I have. Right? I've only come across one person who's interested in the same music or the same style of dress or the same goals or the same, I've only come across one person like that. So, and again, for 4 or 5 years, I've been trying to I guess, pick apart or pull apart the whole thing. I've asked questions. Is this real? This can't be real. Maybe I made it up. Maybe it's something that, nope. Because I get signs, not only in my dreams, but in waking life. The one time I was sitting random, asking, okay, now if this is supposed to be how it's supposed to be, if this is who my twin is, then can I get a sign or something? Like, damn. Because I feel like I'm nuts here. Like, the fuck is going on?
2 minutes later,
he pulls up out of nowhere.
Yeah,
so it was kind of like, okay, thank you for the answer, but okay. Like every time. Random text messages out of nowhere. Right? So, it's one of those, if you don't end up being with your twin in that lifetime, for me personally, it's like, why would I be in another relationship? It doesn't make sense for me. Because it just doesn't make, why would I tie myself to someone who's not like me?
It's like, God gave me this house, so why would I not choose this house just because I can't get it yet? Because I don't have the money to buy it. Why would I go and buy a house with something that I don't want when God already gave me what I do want? It's just not available to me in that moment.
And that's where you have, and for me, I realize it's my patience I'm supposed to be working on. Well, you too. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Because I went down that road before thinking I knew best. Right? And me and you, we have those conversations, and the lessons that I've learned was, one was your father, that I went into it based all purely off of emotions. Oh, I love him, but then life changes things, and I realized love wasn't enough. Right? So then I changed it. Since before it was just straight emotions, then I flipped it. I'm like, okay, well, let's see what happens when ego, logic, when I think it makes sense. So I said, I think it makes sense. So I went the other round. But because I learned lessons from the previous one, this time I made sure we were married, right? That was 13 years of lessons, which let me know that I should have followed that emotional part, my feeling, how I felt, instead of pushing it down. Oh, well, but, no, that's not what it is. It's, got to be something, because I was just using ego or thoughts.
So before you were just using your heart, and then the next time you were just using your head. So now you have to use both.
And I know I have to use both. And using both to make a balanced decision, it only leads to that one person. And trust me, I've tried it, which is why it's hard for me now. It ain't hard. I just stopped. That's why I know a relationship isn't, because to find someone who can trigger that emotional response from me, and to find someone who can trigger that mental response from me is far and few between. Everybody that I've encountered, it was either a mental thing. Oh, well, he seems nice and stable and whatever, right?
But there was no heart.
There was no, and most of the time there's no love, because you got to get past my mental to even allow my feelings to even. And thus far, I can't nobody get past the mental. And it's not even that I have a mental blockage. It's because I genuinely give people chances, you know. And I've been genuinely giving people chances since I found out this whole twin flame thing. Because yeah, we're not together, but he's still my friend. Like, we're still friends, you know. So, but in loving myself, it's a separation because I know he's still learning lessons. And quite honestly, I don't want to be around when he's, you know, dating other, because there's still love there. You know, so I'll be a friend, yeah, but it will never be, you know, I don't know how to explain it. It will never be, it can't be a close friendship because there's love there, you know, love for myself to even allow me to go down that path.
So, how do you know the difference between a twin flame, a soulmate, and a karmic?
A karmic is someone who is going to teach you lessons based off of your own quote unquote evil deeds, right? It's karma, right? Soulmate is one who's going to teach you lessons, but based off of like a loving, more of a loving relationship. So a soulmate can be a friend, a family member. It's a soul. It's someone who matches your vibration, right? They match your vibration um, in order to be allowed to teach you certain lessons, right? A twin flame is you. That is your mirror self. A soulmate is not your mirror self. So, ex-husband was a soulmate and karma all wrapped up into one. You feel what I'm saying? But like the soulmate, he matched certain things, right? So it can blind you to thinking that's who it's supposed to be because he matched certain things, and you know what it was that he matched. You know, certain um, I don't want to say upbringings because we had two different upbringings, but you know what I'm talking. I don't want to put too much of his business out there, so I'm not. But you know, and like I said, it's divine timing. God will put you where you need to be. That's exactly what it was. You'll be prompted to do certain things, and you can run and hide from these lessons all you want to. But my lesson showed up at my front damn door.
I was just about to ask you that. So my next question, that hurt. I just bit my tongue. My next question was going to be, if you run from your twin flame connection, whether it be the divine feminine or the divine masculine, is God gonna force you to go back to that connection because you need to heal whatever it is within yourself?
Now, just put it this way: if it's divine timing and you're meant to be with that person in a lifetime, because you gotta understand, a twin flame connection isn't just because it's love and we're gonna be together. No, a twin flame connection comes together for the greater good of humanity. Right? So while you do have those emotional feelings for them, it is for business, right? The twin flame relationship is the pharaoh and his queen. It's the queen that chose the pharaoh. And people are under the misconception that it's the pharaoh who chose. No, it's the female, because she is the spiritual leader that chooses her pharaoh, which is, in the beginning, she is the chaser because she is chasing him. Right, which in turn, he's running from her because the love that she emanates, is that the word emanates? The love that she projects is so foreign to him, he runs from it, from fear. Right, when she is in her whole self, you know, and ready to give that love, it scares him. It does. Would it not scare you to be in darkness for so long that when you see such a bright light, it hurts your eyes to where you turn your head away?
That makes sense.
Right? So it's until he's been in the darkness for so long, and that's where, and he's tired of being in the darkness, that he decides for himself that he wants to go look for the light.
Right, but you can't force anyone to want to be better.
You can't. So it's not until he decides he's tired of being in such a dark place to where he stops running and turns to go look for the light himself, because now he's better prepared to deal with that light. Now he's better prepared. He's like, okay, well, before it was too bright to just look at with my eyes. So let me put on some glasses this time. To now I'm going to go look for it. But at that point, it's one of those, when he finds the light now, will she turn to him or will she go the other way? Because we all have free will, right? But divine is going to make happen. Out of everything that me and this man have been through, out of everything that he has done, and the thing that spirit is they don't even have to tell you. Spirit will tell you, your intuition will tell you, me being a virtuous woman, and I know that's what I am. I'm privy to a lot of information that I don't even want to be sometimes. Why? Because once you're connected to spirit, and spirit knows all, right?
Yeah. The tree
So.
Of good and evil. What did they say? He is like us. Man is not like us to know the tree of good and evil, or the knowledge of good and evil.
Right. So I know that. But the thing is I know the good in him, just like I know the bad in him. But the love I have for him, that unconditional love, is so strong to where I accept both. Right? Because he is me. At one point, I was him. Because I'm not going to say I was him. I've always been him. But the difference is I've learned to love myself so much to where certain things I will not accept. Right? To where that darkness is still a part of me because I've learned those lessons. But I'm not attracted to the darkness anymore. Right? Because I understood certain things. Okay, so younger. Like, man, you have those conversations when I was younger, right? Like sex. A lot of people, for their body, sex, I want sex, why? Because of their that physical, that's what they want, that quick gratification, right? But then when it's done, you feel empty.
Yes.
Right? So in learning those lessons, I need more than that. Because when the act itself is done, what's left? You get it? So once he learns that he no longer wants that, or when he can control that part, not just sex, but just like anything, once he realizes that's not what he wants a part of it anymore, it's because he's learned to love himself to not deal with it.
Yeah, it's more of, would you rather choose long or short-term success?
Yes. But see, with long-term with long-term success comes discipline, right? You have to be able to discipline yourself to, I'm not accepting certain things. So, childhood friends, right? Do I miss it? Yeah, absolutely, because that was a big part of making me who I am. But at the same time, you have to learn when you outgrow certain situations. Right? So why would I put myself back in that situation to make me feel something? I'm no longer there. Once you awaken to certain things, it's hard to close your eyes and go back to it because your vibration is so high, you just don't want to. That's like being a bird, that's being an eagle, and you so used to flying high to where walking on the ground seems abnormal. It don't feel right anymore because I'm so used to spreading my wings. So now being down, it don't. But I'm a homebody. I tend to stay in the house, but I also recognize when God needs me to do something or to inspire or to teach someone, or I have to learn something, I'll be sent out somewhere. And you always hear me moaning and groaning, and I don't want to go do. But every time I come back home, it's always what?
Like, oh, this happened today.
Well, this is what was supposed to happen. Right? So, like I say, nigga, the lessons is going to come whether you avoid them or not. So it's easier to just go on and get here with the flow because God will make it worse. Until you change, it gets worse. It's going to. So if you in a situation, look at when I say this. If you are in a situation and it does not seem to be getting better, it's most likely because you're not listening to what God is telling you. Your internal wisdom, your internal clock that's telling you to go where you go, you're not listening to it, right? So if the situation is not getting better and it's getting worse, it's because God is letting you know. I told you to leave this situation alone. I told you to move on, and he probably told you how to get out of the situation, but your pride won't let you, your ego won't let you, right? But you're supposed to be following your heart that guides you to where you're supposed to take it. I said, take your ego with you, take your mental with you, take your logical side with you, rational side with you, but you follow your heart, right? You follow your heart. Your heart has been with you since birth. Your brain had to develop, but your heart has always been there. Ain't that the first sign the doctor check for to see if you're alive? They don't check for a brain wave. They check for a heartbeat. So you follow your heart, and if you don't, your situation will get worse and worse and worse and worse. Why? Because every time it gets bad and it's a hit, your thought process keeps going to negative and more negative and more negative, and you attract what you are. So if you keep thinking negative, 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 you're going to get negative, negative, and negative. So it's going to just keep getting worse and worse and worse until you follow your heart, which is positive. And then when you follow your heart, you'll be in a better position, a happier position to attract more happy positions. Okay, good, because my throat is dry, and we have 42 minutes and 38 seconds, and this is a long video, but apparently it was supposed to be. Just because you are in this life does not mean that you are here with your twin flame. Because twin flames are a different level of, to whom much is given, much is required, right? So I met mine. I didn't know he was my twin flame with 16, 17, was that 20 plus years ago? I didn't know that's who he was. And it wasn't until I was in my mid 30s, 35, 34, 35, that I realized who he was. And then looking back on everything that I've been through, it makes sense as to why I had to go through it, right? Because everything you go through, it's not, to you, it's for you. So I had to personally go through a whole lot of stuff to be able to get to where I am right now. And I'm talking about being cheated on, domestic violence, lied to, like homeless. What else have we been through? I've been through a lot to get here. So when I say twin flame relationship, you go through a lot. Why? Because you have to learn those lessons in order to learn to love yourself. Right? You have to learn those lessons to understand that you are of this world, but you're not from it. Right? You have to go through.
Makes sense.
You have to go through all of those lessons to learn, that money is a made-up tool to keep people enslaved. Right? I had to learn the difference between being wealthy and being abundant, because I am abundant in all things. In all things. But I haven't worked since 2017. But do we want for anything?
No.
Do we need anything?
No.
I had to learn that. I had to learn a lot of it sleeping on a friend's couch for 5 months, fleeing from domestic violence. I had to learn. That's where I had to learn a lot of patience and faith and, so don't get it twisted. I talk about twin flames a lot now, because I know who mine is, but I know what I had to go through to get here, for him to even be revealed to who he is. And in me knowing his life, he had to go through a lot. He went through a lot. He went through a hell of a lot. I think he went through a hell of a lot more than I did. But again, it's that the divine masculine. They are strength. That's why he is as strong as he is, because of everything that he went through. I don't think he realizes it. But again, I'm the divine feminine. I awaken to it first. So of course I see that in him. I see his strength in him.
Because you found the strength in you.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Right? So I see him, even when he can't see himself.
That's dope. See, this is why I love you.
I see him. What's the movie? The Avatar? What did he say? I see you. I see him. Right? So I see his internal. I don't see, that's the unconditional love. I don't see all the bad deeds that he may feel, that he has done, or the hurt that he still had. I don't see that. I see him. The same loving, he's very kind, and he's funny, right? And he's smart. He's the only one that I can actually have an intelligent conversation with. But in his strength, it's not too many men that'll look at me and be like, what? What are you talking about? But I can talk to him. And because he also submits. Because he can also learn. Mm-hmm. There goes my baby. Mm-hmm. So I always love him. It's unconditional love. He can do no wrong. To me, he can't do no wrong because I understand. Mm-hmm. Has he, in other people's eyes, done wrong? Absolutely. Have people been like, oh, girl, you're crazy. Ain't no way I did that. Absolutely. But because there's an unconditional love there, hurting people hurt people, and he was hurting. Mm-hmm. He didn't think I could see it, but I saw it. But him hurting is what allowed him to do some of the things that he did. But I recognize that I don't love him no less. I just love me a hell of a lot more to why I won't be around for it. So it's one of them. You either come correct or don't come at all. Either way, I'm happy with me. Mm-hmm. So am I waiting for him? No. Nope. See, because I have a mission, I have a path, I have a journey. So it's going to get done regardless. And I also know that there is a counterpart. So either he get right, or the divine is going to send me another one, but a higher level soulmate, right? A higher level soulmate as far as, because if your twin flame don't want to act right, the divine will send you a higher level soulmate. They won't be your twin flame, but they're going to have a high vibration, high enough to where you'll accept it, you'll allow it, right? So it's like, the twin flame is 2.0, but the higher level soulmate is like 1.0. If that makes sense. It makes sense to me. So don't get it twisted. Don't wait for your twin flame. The goal is to love yourself and to move on, because they have no choice. That invisible cord, that's like me tying a string across both our waists, right? And I'm moving forward anyway. So if I'm moving forward at full speed, what's happening with you?
You can either universe is gonna force you to follow behind me, or you just gonna get lost in the dust.
So now, if I'm moving forward full speed, and you decide to just go with the flow, so you pacing along with me, that's going with the flow, just allowing things to happen. But if I'm moving forward at full speed and you don't want to go, and you dragging your feet, imagine me being in the car with you tied to me and that car going full speed and you don't want to run along. What's going to happen? It's going to drag you.
What's that?
So it's up to you if you want to be drugged or you just going to go with the flow, because it is what it is. It is what it is, and I just picture like somebody all bruised up and
nope.
Right. Don't get it twisted. When we get to the destination of where we going, I'm gonna turn around and you okay?
I'm gonna patch you up.
Right. You need a Band-Aid, medic. You need one of them. I'm gonna make sure you all right. But you can either take this the hard way or the easy way. But the way the twin flame is set up, nigga, it's you can't
coward out.
You don't really want to coward out, because everything you want is right in front of you.
You just gotta fight for it.
You got to fight for it. It's in fear. of woulda, shoulda, coulda, or what's gonna happen is what. But Bible
That's
says
when-
what? Be not afraid, for I am with you. Faith. Last video, the difference between faith and hoping.
I was gonna ask you if we could do a video on that because I was thinking about it as you were talking earlier, and I was
faith and hope.
yeah, how to strive towards your faith.
You need more information, knowledge. That's the end of the video.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. Peace out.